North Country REMSCO for January 25th. People who were provided the agenda and the minutes from the last meeting. However, I'm going to deviate from the agenda order so that we can do the Lewis County CON first, as we have a court reporter, stenographer here to record it, and I don't want to hold her up and have it cost Lewis County more money, so we're going to do that first. So, at this time, I'm going to turn it over to the CON committee.
All right. We have an application from Lewis County Search and Rescue to expand their CON to cover all of Lewis County. But before I get into that, I want to give a special thanks to three people. Deb Singleton, our chair, because without her help, this wouldn't have happened in a timely fashion. Ann Smith as well. And from my own office, Dawn Smith. Tonight would have been a major problem without her. Now, the CON was reviewed by Craig Ballard, Larry Gerard, myself, Ron Smith. Mark Tuttle had to sit this one out because of conflict of interest, but he's certainly a part of the committee. The application is about making legal what they are already doing and accommodating the changing EMS system in Lewis County. The application was posted on the council website. The transcript and the hearing officer's report was emailed to the council members. The application, for the timeline, the application was received. Bear with me. The application was received 11/18/15. The application was deemed incomplete. First rejection letter was 12/1/15. The full CON committee met, not including Mark Tuttle, with John Morrissey, 11/18/15. 12/18/15, I'm sorry. Second rejection letter with more detailed requested. 12/21/15, requested information received. 12/21/15, application deemed complete. 12/21/15, busy day. Public hearing notice mailed, done by office. 12/23/15, paper notice ran. 12/27/15, public hearing at Lowville Fire Hall, 1/5/16 at 7 p.m. The F&Cs 3778 with resumes, and application 3777 sent to DOH Dana 1/5/16. DOH approved the F&Cs and sent report on 1/20/16. Transcript received 1/20/16. Public hearing officer's report received 1/21/16. CON committee makes a decision for recommendation 1/22/16. Application vote to approve 1/25/16. I'm going to let you read the.
Okay, as a seconded motion from the CON committee, I'd like to present this motion. The motion is hereby made to approve the CON from Lewis County Search and Rescue, Inc., for expansion to include all of Lewis County as described in their application, as they have proven need as defined in DOH Policy Statement 0606 and Article 30.
I make the motion that we approve the recommendation from the committee for Lewis County Search and Rescue CON for the entire county.
And your name is?
Jim Davis.
Thank you. That counts as a seconded motion. So, at this time, before we have any further discussion or roll call vote, I know that there's a lot of people that have some concerns whether they have a conflict of interest. So I have had a conversation with the state, and the state's feeling on a conflict of interest is it only pertains to someone who receives remuneration. So if you do not receive remuneration from Lewis County Search and Rescue, and you sit on the council, then you can vote. So when we get, if there's somebody that feels at this time they have a conflict, if they would please let us know. Any conflicts?
I'm going to choose to abstain as county coordinator. It's my position. I should be that. Obviously, I'm going to support all agencies within the county, and I don't feel that I should have an opinion for or against this particular subject.
Okay.
Am I allowed to abstain?
Joe Bova? And the reason for your abstention?
Assistant Chief of Operations for the agency, and I'm paid for my position. I'm gonna abstain as well. I think it could be up for conversation, because at the present time, I don't receive numeration, but just the fact that I am a member of the CON committee, my previous involvements, I actively participated in the application process on behalf of the organization.
However, you did not participate in the CON. The CON committee was very careful to ensure that you were not involved in any of that. It's certainly your right, but you also have a right to vote as an active member of this council on this CON. Anyone else? Is there any further discussion on this CON before we take it to a roll call vote?
We have to have this area of discussion, don't we?
Just said,
Oh,
any
I'm sorry.
further
Yeah.
discussion before we take it to a roll call vote? Any further discussion? If not, I'm going to ask Dave Sherman, Secretary of the Council, to do a roll call vote.
David Allen.
Yes.
James Barr.
Yes.
Craig Ballard.
Yes.
Joe Bova.
Abstain.
Charlie Brennan.
Yes.
Raleigh Churchill.
Yes.
Jim Devers.
Yes.
Mark Devers.
Yep.
Debbie Foltz.
Yes.
Ken Gardner.
Yes.
Larry Gerard.
Yes.
Jay Gwinnett.
Yes.
Ron Hantz.
Yes.
Mary Kleinhans.
Yes.
Bob McKenzie.
Abstain.
Kristen Mead.
Yes.
Carol Munch.
Yes.
Dave Sherman, yes. Debbie Singleton.
Yes.
Ron Smith.
Yes.
Dottie Suter.
Yes.
Mark Tuttle.
Abstain.
Motion passes 19 yes, 3 abstains, none in the no field.
The paperwork will go into the state tomorrow. I'd like to thank the CON committee. A lot of time and effort went into this. A 45-minute meeting ended up being a 3.5-hour meeting, but we got through it. So thank you very much for all your work on this. Would Justin or Karen like to say anything before we?
Just want to say thank you for the CON committee. Thanks to Debbie Singleton, and especially Ann Smith.
We're good. This time, we'll let the court stenographer go ahead and we'll close this portion of the meeting and go back to the regular agenda.
Thank you.
Review of previous minutes and approval. Dave sent it out last week.
Motion approved. Second.
So we have a motion from Raleigh Churchill and a second from Dave Allen to accept the treasurer's report. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? So carried.
Yeah, was that the minutes?
That was the minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Minutes, yes.
Minutes, I'm sorry.
Next one will be treasurers.
Next one will be treasurer's. Treasurer's report. Dave Allen, anything to add?
We were sent out last week. You did not get a copy in your email. Send me an email. Make sure I've got your address and have it correct.
Questions on the treasurer's report?
Motion to approve the treasurer's report.
Mary Kleinhans makes a motion to approve the treasurer's report, seconded by Jay Gannett. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? So carried. Correspondence, moving on. Enforcement list, there was nothing forwarded from the state on the enforcement list. Other correspondence, letter dated November 19th from Fred Lampman. Dear Mrs. Singleton, it is with much regret that I submit my resignation as a Jefferson County member of the North Country Regional EMS Council effective December 6th. This is due to my acceptance of a new job offer as Deputy Director with the United County Office of Emergency Services. I have enjoyed my time with the North Country EMS Council and feel we have accomplished many great things, and I am confident the momentum will continue. The residents of Jefferson, Lewis, and St. Lawrence counties are fortunate to have such a dedicated group of emergency medical professionals, and I hope that the council continues their great work in providing the support and guidance to these fine professionals going forward. Sincerely, Fred Lampman. Resignation letter dated Tuesday, January 19th. It is with deep regret that I tender my resignation to you from the North Country EMS Council. I have thought long and hard on this decision, and it is time. Due to family health problems and personal issues, I feel I can no longer be an effective member in this organization. I have sincerely enjoyed being part of the council for the last 15 years and will miss everyone. Thank you all for all you do for our communities. Sincerely, Alice C. Morgan.
Do we have to accept it?
For her, yes. That's what she needs.
Now we have some communication for people to join the REMSCO. The first is Roberta Simpson. Bobby Simpson is a dispatcher with Jefferson County 911 and has been recommended for appointment so that we have a dispatcher on the council. Bobby's sitting over here by Ron Hantz. Bobby, you've been in EMS for 20-some years. It's basic EMT, and you've been a dispatcher for...
Motion to accept?
Dave Sherman makes a motion to accept.
Second.
Choose your
I got one.
The whole left side.
I'm taking Jim, he was closer.
All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? So moved. Second one. So dry. Lewis County Search and Rescue, to whom it may concern. I am writing this letter to express interest in being appointed to the REMAC Council, or REMSCO Council. I guess there was another one too.
There's a REMSCO one there too.
REMSCO Council. I have been a provider in the region for 11 years and 6 years as an ALS provider. I feel my time given and the history I have with the region will be beneficial to the council. Thank you for your consideration. Look forward to helping out as much as I can. Justin Astafan. And we're just awaiting the county legislators' endorsement.
I make a motion that we accept it pending Lewis County recommendation. Since they sent it, it's approved.
We have a motion and a second. Further discussion?
Who seconded?
Tuttle.
Total, T-U-T-T-O-E.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Third one is from Robert Meyer in Messina. I was advised by Chief Wayne Love of the Messina Rescue Squad that the REMAC Advisory Board has 4 open positions. This letter is to serve as my official request to serve in a position on that advisory board. I am currently a certified paramedic both in New York and through the National Registry. I am currently an active paramedic with the Messina Rescue Squad and have served in that capacity since 2013. I also serve on the Messina Rescue Squad QA/QI committee, as well as assist with training within the department. I am the ASHI director and instructor for the department, teaching and managing classes from ACLS to basic first aid and a North Country Regional approved CME evaluator. I previously volunteered as a firefighter paramedic with the Grand Island Fire Department from 1998 to 2006. I served as both an EMS and fire lieutenant, as well as a fire medic captain. I also worked as a full-time paramedic performing critical care transports and performing emergency and non-emergency transports for rural metro services in the Western New York region from 1999 to 2006. I feel I would be a great fit and asset to the advisory board. Thank you for your time and consideration in this matter.
I think you said REMAC, not REMSCO.
Yeah.
Okay, he had both of them.
Okay.
We already voted on them at the REMAC, the
Motion
REMSCO.
to
REMSCO.
Is he here?
No, his application has been approved by the advisory board. We're still just waiting the endorsement from the county, or from the legislators, because it's a paperwork process. So the motion to
Make a motion that
already done.
receipt of that
approval from St. Lawrence County, the appointment committee.
Okay.
Craig Ballard, Dave Allen. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Third one is, I'm writing to you because I was notified that there are 4 vacancies for St. Lawrence County Representative on REMSCO. I would like to submit my name for consideration for one of these seats. I am an advanced EMT in good standing within the region, have been an assistant chief with Messina Rescue for 2.5 years, and I'm also an active member of Ogdensburg and Waddington Rescue, and serve on the Emergency Management Board at Claxton Hepburn Medical Center. I feel that getting involved with REMSCO would give me new insight as a department leader and provide an excellent learning opportunity. And this is from Michael
Abrunzo.
Abrunzo.
He has been approved by the advisory board, have not received the legislative back because he failed to get me his biodata sheet in a timely manner.
So motion to accept pending the approval from legislature.
So we have a motion from Dave Sherman to accept pending legislator approval.
Second.
Second from Mary Kleinhans. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? So carried. This one is dated October 20th. Clarkson University Emergency Medical Services is a volunteer university-based emergency medical service that provides high-quality and confidential emergency medical care to the Clarkson community. While school is in session, it is the primary provider of EMS services to Clarkson's community, providing 24/7, 24-hour, 7-day-a-week BLS SR first response services. As the Chief Line Officer for Clarkson University Emergency Medical Services, I'm requesting the North Country Regional EMS Council recommend the issuance of a Department of Health EMS agency code number. We would like to integrate our BLS FR response with the local EMS system. We have been working closely with Potsdam Volunteer Rescue and have a mutual aid agreement between the two organizations. And this has been endorsed by the advisory board as well.
Are they dispatched by the county 911 system?
No.
Well, we've worked with them so that they can dispatch them if needed to go outside. They don't do it through, well, they actually may with these guys. They may have set up a pager system with these guys, so they can be, but they also can dispatch them by calling their security, and they can respond outside of campus, and they are also included in the MCI plan. I have met...
Part of the policy statement, would they be dispatched by the 911 center in order to be eligible for an agency?
Yes, and they're aware of that, and I just recently had a go-to meeting with all 4 BLSFRs, all 4 college campus BLSFRs, and to address that, and they have the capability of being publicly dispatched through the 911 center, and they are incorporated into the MCI plan as well.
Any further questions? Do I have a motion?
They have to, in order to move forward with this, they have to have an endorsement from the regional council.
I'll second it.
Jay Gannett makes a motion to endorse Clarkson University Emergency Medical Services volunteer university-based EMS system to get their, boy, that's a mouthful, to get their BLSFR, and Mark Deaver seconds it. It's going to take an hour to dispatch them before they can roll anywhere saying all that.
I have one more letter that's missing.
So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? You have another one yet?
Yes, actually, I'm not sure where the letter went, but I had also received a letter from Wayne Love. He is a active critical care provider. He runs with, he's actually an officer in Messina. He works with Ogdensburg Rescue. And He has been endorsed by the EMS Advisory Board in the county for one of the open positions, and we're still awaiting his biodata sheet and endorsement by the county legislator, but he's interested in joining the REMSCO.
I would make a motion that we would make that appointment pending the paperwork's time. Getting the paperwork fit.
Seconded.
Greg Ballard makes a motion to accept, and choose your second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? So carried. Any other correspondence that anybody has? We'll go into committee reports. Jim Devers, REMSCO and CMAP.
If anybody would like a copy that doesn't have one, they can contact me or I can email it to them. The State Council met December 8th and 9th, and I'm just going to not cover the entire thing, but just hit on the highlights on at the State Council. The chairman made a report, and he stated that a lot of people had contacted him about the critical care level of certification. At this time, they said there seems to be a lot of concern about it, and that there's no need for that because there's not going to be a committee for the CC level at this time. The level will continue. The only thing he was concerned about, he received a lot of correspondence, so did I, which people are entitled to their own opinion, but that need to not be inappropriate with their language toward us representatives on the state level. We're only there to serve the public and serve our region, and it seems to be getting worse. Okay, the vice chair talked about he was impressed with the update, the protocol BLS for spinal cord. There were 31,000 EMTs that went through that process out of the 41,000 in the state. They figure about the 10,000 either, they don't know how many are in the system or out the system. They're trying to narrow that down. So it was some problems with the internet system. One of the things the state was not aware of, it did not work with Windows 10, which created a little bit of a problem. But the one thing you should be aware of that in the future, there are going to be more protocol updates used on the internet. Also, just for information, mandatory wage increases for New York State for $15 an hour. Guess what? EMS is not part of that at the present. So, and the reason why is that apparently there were some concerns that if $15 an hour became mandatory for a lot of the paid entities, it would create a financial burden on some of the services. Also, at the last meeting with Medicare, there's a quality work group, and they're looking at the reimbursement is going to be value-based reimbursement in the future for EMS and what kind of impact that's going to have on the system. And so that's one reason why it was not included, the 15-hour minimum wage. The director wanted to make Lee Burns stated that there were 3 field representatives short at this time, so they already have a short staff. It's just even shorter with the retirement of Cindy. Also, we had a discussion on the active shooter incident, and one of the concerns that the health department had was that the shooter in California was actually a public health building. So they said there's concern, we should be aware, keep our awareness up. There was an article in EMS1 this week, if you look at it, that EMS personnel are being attacked more frequently, 15 times more than fire personnel, was one report. So we need to be aware of the hazards we're working into. Another thing that was brought up,
Why our EMS people are being taxed more than fire service?
we run more calls. One reason, I mean, look at, it's no longer fire-based EMS, it's EMS-based fire. Let's face it, we got an aging population, and so there's more EMS responses. Another thing that was brought up was that there's a trauma council, and the hospitals that have trauma centers have been complaining that they're not getting adequate notices from the EMS providers. However, Lee Burns felt that it was more of a communication problem within the hospitals, and most of us kind of feel that. I think we all give more than adequate notice to the trauma centers. The next meeting is going to be March 1st and 3rd in Troy. Another thing is Vital Signs is going to be in Syracuse, October 13th and 16th of 2016. They had good feedback from last year's Vital Signs. There were 1,400 that attended. This year at the memorial service, EMS Memorial, and I encourage everybody to try to attend if they can. They haven't set a date, but it's in May, usually in EMS week. They're going to add 6 more EMS provider to the living tree. Most of those are from 9/11, from either injuries sustained or illnesses sustained from 9/11. As far as the trauma centers go, there are 6 new trauma centers that have been approved by the federal government in New York State. 8 more centers have been requested visits in 2016. 4 hospitals have been removed because they did not meet the standard. As far as education and standard, they approved a new protocol for Narcan. I can break it down a little bit later if you want. Also, they voted to remove the pre-hospital hypothermia protocols from New York State. Another thing that's coming down the pike, and it's a regional option, is a 12-lead EKG for basics. There's you can call it Department of Health, and they can give you the standard for that. Essentially, the machines that they do that with are between $1,500 and $3,000, where a basic is taught how to put it in. They have to transmit it to the hospital, and there has to be a doctor, part of the plan, that interprets the 12-lead EKG. They have piloted in the Albany region, and some of the ones coming down the pike, it's been beneficial because then they can tell me to take a left-hand turn or a right. If they take left, they go to the STEMI center. If they go right, they go to a normal hospital because the doctor reads the EKG and determines based on when the event occurred whether they go to a STEMI hospital or whether they go to a normal emergency room. Other states, there's like 4 states that basics do 12-lead EKG. They don't interpret it because it's not out of the scope of practice. They're just trained to put it on and transmit, and a doctor reads it in the emergency room, and that's part of the system. So that's out there. It's something you should be aware of. Also, training in ed, as far as tourniquets go, they've changed the protocol on certain types of tourniquets. It's going to be high and tight, just like the military. So there's some consistency there. The Finance Committee. We did our budget. We are asking the Department of Health for $25 million, and for 2016, we asked it for $21 million last year and got what? $16 million. So we thought we asked for 25, and hopefully we get a little more than $16 million. $16 million just cannot run the system. Another thing, there's no more AEMT on immediate agencies in New York. We got a printout on our region. In our regions, we have 3 agencies that are AEMT, which replaced the EMTI. Also, they're looking at, as far as the CON is looking at, our committee is looking at other systems throughout the country to replace possibly the CON in the future. One thing they're going to come up with is that tags for newer guidelines and paperwork, just to let you know, that's in the pipeline. One thing that...
Are they trying to make me obsolete? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, it's just that there's a lot of issues with the CON, and if you look at the national models, what they're doing too with this paramedicine, where you're having regional systems contracted with hospitals, they got to look at to deal with that. So you might see more regional systems in the future.
Talking with Dana on this very subject, very recently.
Yeah.
He said there was 2 tags.
Yeah.
And one tag did nothing, and the other tag did a great job, and they ended up having combined the 2 into 1.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't expect miracles to happen this year on it, to be honest.
No, but it's more of a legislative change, but it's going to have to be changed because of the changing environment in healthcare and the pre-hospital, particularly with the paramedicine. When you get into the paramedicine, the state has done the legislation to allow paramedics to do it, but they haven't figured out a way to fund it, and now they got resistance to allowing paramedics to do it because some of the nursing associations are afraid we're going to take their job. That's the short version of it. Also, transferring the CONs. We had one tonight. There were 14 done from September to December this year, where they had 14 CON transfers surrendering their CON. So
That a change, as in a transfer of ownership from
Yeah.
fire department to an independent so they can bill?
yeah, they just gave
Yeah.
over. They surrendered.
We've done several here, as you know.
Yeah, no. So that's getting to be more and more of a trend, just so you're aware of it.
I understand 0606 is being rewrote, but there again.
Yep. Also, legislative-wise, there's a new law requiring municipal agencies to wear seat belts. The state council has asked for the law to be amended to include all agencies. Also, there's a new bill out there that we sent a letter of endorsement for, is to make it a crime in New York State to take money that's intended for EMS agency and people spend it on their own. So that's interesting.
Would that be through a reimbursement from
Yeah, the
insurance company to an individual? when it
and
was
they
supposed
spend
to
money and
have
don't
paid
pay.
the-
They don't pay the ambulance bill.
Yeah.
And so they have a legislature that the bills, the reimbursement will have to go to the ambulance
Yeah.
services.
Seen that a few times.
Hopefully I'll pass. Another thing we sent in was to increase reimbursement of Medicaid to the Medicare level. It passed one part, but it hasn't passed the other. Some of the reason why they're looking for that, because the reimbursements, as we all know, that do billing are going down, and the impact of this quality care reimbursement is going to be interesting. So the safety committee, we're looking at ways to violence against EMS and more of an educational model as far as awareness. Also, the Ebola standard that was out there has been changed, and we should use universal PPEs whenever it's indicated. Another thing is we're working on right now the changes of the 822, which deals with the structure of the ambulance. We're taking these CAAS standards and an NFPA standards. We're going to look at the two standards and try to roll them into one, because a lot of those are safety changes that are coming down with manufacturing of ambulance services. And there also is a concern from a safety standpoint of there seems to be an increase in the number of red lights and sirens in non-emergency mode statewide. Another thing we're going to talk about is environmental safety. I know in some states, like when wind speeds from hurricanes are over 65 miles an hour, you don't respond because it blows the ambulance over. Another thing that it's coming to the forelight is what happened in Buffalo during the recent snowstorm, where they sent someone home in a whiteout and an ambulance hit a tractor and trailer head-on and killed the patient. Somebody needs to use some common sense when it's that bad, not to be transferring somebody home. So much. That's my state report.
Can I just clarify, Jim, the meetings are March 1st and 2nd?
Yeah, March 1st and 2nd. I have it March 1st and 2nd.
You do have that?
You got second and third on your thing.
Oh, yeah, it's 1st and 2nd in my notes.
Can you provide me a copy of that for
Yes.
the minutes?
Any questions
You didn't have mine.
from the state council meeting?
Oh, here.
Okay. And do you want to combine REMAC and program agency?
Sure, if no one objects, I'd be happy to combine them. All right. Let's see. I'll start off. We also had a bunch of new members. So I would bring forth as a seconded motion or entertain someone to make a motion to approve Dr. McKinnon, who is a physician at CPH in St. Lawrence County, Camp Potsdam Hospital, and did attend our meeting tonight. We welcomed him. Mark Devers and James Barr were both voted into the REMAC. Robert Meyer, Justin Astafan as well. So I would entertain a motion to approve all those for the REMAC as well.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Okay, I'm going to pull the motions right out of the way, and then I can do the report. Okay, so there was a motion made to allow the program agency, specifically myself, to approve BLS CPAP agencies as they come in, so they don't have to wait for the meetings that we have quarterly. And that was following the approval of North Pole Fire Department, Lewis County Search and Rescue, South Jefferson Rescue, Ogdensburg Volunteer Rescue, Indian River Ambulance, Thousand Islands Emergency Response, Norfolk Lorraine Fire Department. They were all approved to do BLS CPAP. And it,
We the approval of those individual agencies at that meeting, and to endorse the idea of giving the program agency the opportunity to approve these applications in the future.
Second.
Craig Ballard, Dottie Suter. Any questions? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? So carried.
all right, Tri-Town Rescue was approved to downgrade to the critical care level from paramedic, as they no longer have paramedics.
Motion by Jay. Seconded by Dave Sherman. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? So
Yeah.
carried.
BLS Narcan was approved for St. Lawrence University. I found that I guess I didn't need to get a motion for that. So that's informational. CME evaluators were approved. Carla Hellinger, Jessica Sweet from Lewis County. I'd entertain a motion.
I make the motion.
Second.
Jim Deaver, Riley Churchill. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions?
Wellesley Island, we endorsed them, re-endorsed them for BLS defibrillation. That was a necessity since they had lapsed their certificate of need. They are currently working with the New York State Department of Health on correcting that situation.
Jay Gannett, Carol Much. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions?
Okay. So the next couple of things, if you choose to table them, I did not get them sent out, that's fine. The first one is we had a simple change on the 1106 albuterol by basics policy statement that's out there. In the first paragraph, it read, "Not all EMTs in the agency must be trained in order to provide this." And that, what was meant by that sentence is that if you have 5 EMTs and only 4 are trained, the agency may still do it, but it's construed as you don't have to get trained to do it. So we'd like to remove that statement and put in, "You must be trained to administer it." I'm happy to send that out and await, or Jay's going to make a motion.
Jay made the motion. Who seconded it?
Bob McKenzie.
Bob McKenzie seconded it. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions?
Okay. The next one's a little more complicated, but it involved our North Country Regional refusal sheet that we have out there as a resource for our providers to do or use, and we actually encourage them to use it. It was brought to our attention, and I had that happen too out in the field, and I can't find it, but there's actually no appropriate place or checkbox when you have a patient that you get called for, but they're not really injured. So they put together a proposal, some proposed wording that was approved pending review of a lawyer, and it, basically stated that we recommend, I can't find it now.
Bottom line is, it said if you're not hurt, we don't get trained for you. But if the condition changes, if it's worse, call us back.
And that we're making you aware that we're here and can take you if you want to.
Yes.
So it still was not an abandonment, but
You got to pull off ladder, wife will call all the mechanic and say, well, they got to do a vice versa. And they're not hurt. They get up and they say, no, I want to. There was nothing on the form that said, I'm not hurt. If it gets worse, I'll call you again.
And how many times do we get dispatched to an MVA for a car off the road, and you get there and it just went in the ditch, and they're like, I've got a tow truck coming, I don't need you. There was nothing for them to sign off on this form before. It didn't have a...
Right. Well, this would kind of cover it. It's in this mess somewhere. But they also approved it pending. We were going to seek a legal review over it just to make sure it was good. It wasn't going to hang anybody up. But that's basically what it was. I had 2 copies of it sitting here.
Pending what?
Legal review.
So we have a motion from Jay to go ahead and accept the changes to our patient refusal form, pending legal review and making sure the verbiage is all correct. And Raleigh, did you second that?
Yes.
And Raleigh Churchill seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions?
All right, and we had a bunch of drugs that were approved for Governor Rescue for interfacility transports only. I believe those were all sent out.
Make a motion, we approve it.
second, yes.
So we got Jim.
Jim Devers made a motion, seconded by Dave Sherman, to approve the drugs for Governor for interfacility transports only. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Okay, I hope I got most of the motions. So going through, we're continuing to work on putting together hospital destination advisory within advisory statement to help guide EMTs on appropriate destination for patients. We're continuing to work on bringing River and Governor Hospital on board with medical control and updating the medical control manual. There's been no movement on our RSI committee. Jim has agreed to chair it, and hopefully we can move forward. There was a long discussion on the protocols. We will be looking into joining some additional regions that have a collaborative protocol as well, which will make a much larger group. Central New York and Mid-State are also considering that, so there'll be more information on that. I updated the REMAC on CME suspensions, as well as those who did not complete the patient restraint protocol update that was mandatory. And they encouraged that we move forward, give them 2 more weeks to comply and move forward with suspension if they do not comply with doing that protocol update. I forget anything from REMAC outside of my report. Okay. We did receive a PAD application. We need to work on the MD. It did from Kraft Foods in Lowville. It didn't have a New York MD. They are aware of that, and we are working on that. I did not receive any epinephrine auto-injector new applications. We had some updates that came in with some BLSFRs. I reported that there's 8 agencies within the region, all of which are in St. Lawrence and Lewis County, that do not have narcotics as of yet, that are ALS. EPCR, since our last meeting, Henderson Ambulance in Alexandria Bay went live with EMS charts. We're continuing to work with Edwards to try and get them up and running. We have 23 agencies on electronic documentation platforms out of 49 transport agencies. And when we looked at the regional CMEs, we have 12. We found 12 that were no longer practicing in our area. 10 suspension letters are going out for failure to complete CMEs. 3 additional letters are going out because they have no agency affiliation any longer. Plus, they did not complete their CMEs. I attended the state EMS meetings. Between Debbie Singleton and our office, the following BLSFR updates were completed as required by the state, and actually ahead of time, by all departments for Lorraine Fire Department, Hewelton Fire Department, Briar Hill Fire Department, Pierpont Fire Department, City of Watertown Fire Department, Glen Park Fire Department, and we also received some updates from Watertown, the Town of Watertown Fire Department as well. We have 15 total agencies that I am aware of. The report's probably a month old, so there's probably been some more that have come on board that have enrolled in the Monroe-Livingston Check and Inject program as demo process. So we got some folks out there doing some training. The region did a fabulous job with the training modules. I've heard a lot of great feedback on it. I haven't had time to review them all as of yet, but we'll be soon. The office did CME manager training. We had 5 sessions, 20, and reached out to 20 CME managers. We did multiple New York State spinal skills sessions. We were approved finally to be an opioid prevention program. We've been working closely with City of Watertown Fire Department, Watertown City Police, and the Sheriff have all requested to come on board with our program. So we'll be getting a whole bunch of folks trained and getting the Narcan to them. I continue to struggle with some red tape at the state level, we had to get an OGS contract number, and now I'm waiting for them to get my account set up. I got an initial shipment of 100, but they're all pretty much spoken for. And I just haven't got that resupply set up, so once we get through the red tape of the paperwork, hopefully that will move forward and we'll get some more. They'll have Narcan available for all non-fire, EMS, ALS, BLS, anybody who needs it. Regionally, prior to the time I do suspensions, we had 104 critical care providers and 89 paramedics. We have not received any reimbursement from New York State. We have not received an approved contract from New York State as of yet. So, a huge thank you to Fort Drum Regional Health Planning Organization, who is fronted the money for over 6 months for our office to operate. Still no news of when our contract's going, and we've done everything on our end. We've done it very timely. They've also provided us with new reporting platforms that they want done, etc. So,
Who does the council agitate to make that payment happen?
I think maybe Debbie can reach out.
Agitating.
Debbie can reach out to Mr. Bahana because I ask and ask and ask and.
It'll be a state rep and wait a year and a half before you get your reimbursement.
Perhaps it's time for the 30 to talk to our elected representatives and say, what's going on? This money is owed. The job is being done. Let's cut the check and get it in the mail.
Yeah, and that's my thought, is get legislative people involved, and if it's been missed.
Top of the stack there.
Remember a few years ago, Central had to close down for a couple of months. Remember that, Ann?
Oh, if it wasn't for, I mean, it's always been for, either SUNY Canton or now Fort Drum Regional Health Planning Organization. If they were not, backing us up.
Relationships were invaluable.
It's kind of ironic because if some of you saw the draft letter that when we sent out the proposals, and I had in there that, whoever bids and receives this needs to be able to cover up to 6 months worth of, expenses, and the state had me take that out because that no longer existed. That wasn't happening anymore.
And my understanding is they were getting better. I know that the majority of my colleagues have had their contracts approved, but ours got held up in red tape because of the change. We keep readdressing it. Then I finally got, they found some type of purchase rec they needed on their end. So they did that. And then I haven't heard anything since then. I readdressed it again and still have not heard anything. But boy, they wanted and beat me down to get an updated workers' comp form from Fort Drum Regional Health Planning Organization, because obviously the one we submitted back in June, and it ran out in, I don't remember what month, but by the time apparently they're now looking at our contract again, it was expired. So we got it. It wasn't an issue, but.
I'll call Tom if we don't get anywhere. Then we'll go the legislative route. But let me try calling Tom first tomorrow and say.
Tom Bahana.
Single day.
I mean, I haven't submitted the second quarter voucher yet. That's not due till the end of next week. But our first quarter was submitted timely, and.
This one's still timely. Just make sure it's in on time, the congressional representative, we ought to be able to find somebody that could go kick some doors down.
I would think so. Even get the press involved, because this could jeopardize the whole system up here. Non-payment. How long are they going to carry us? I mean, that would create it's amazing what the press can do on stuff like that.
I don't think we're at that point.
No, but you don't want to get into that point.
You don't want to be to that point.
Have a handle on it.
Don't worry, I'm sure Debbie will do a fine job. I have faith.
Anything else from the program?
I probably forgot something, but they'll remind me.
I just would like to have the records reflect what a great job Ann has done since she's been back. And it's
Thank you.
it's reassuring knowing that if something's assigned to be done, that it's taken care of in a timely manner, and don't need to repeat follow-ups
sometimes.
asking to have something done. I know that it gets taken care of, and it's good getting back there. And there's still a lot of work to be done, and as I told her, we didn't get into the shape we're in overnight, and we can't fix it overnight. So we're getting there, and it's getting back there. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Ann.
You're welcome.
Executive committee, we have had an executive committee meeting. I have it under new business. We'll talk about the new template. But at the same time, we approved spending some money and giving it to SUNY Canton for a Dell computer and a printer. We wanted a portable laptop computer for the program agency, and a printer was needed. And we thought there was funds available through Canton when the contract was ending, and apparently they didn't know how to add, and the funds weren't there. So it was $1,820.27 that we expended because we had the computer and we had the printer, and it needed to be paid for. So we did do that. I don't think there was anything else under executive. We'll talk about the new template down below. Deb, training and ed.
Training and ed met prior to this meeting, and I just got everybody together to let them know that SUNY Canton's core sponsorship renewal is due again. June 30th, 2016 is when it expires, so we'll be getting things hopefully in the near future, and I will extend my hand out to them again as I have in the past to assist them in any way to complete their core sponsorship renewal. This year they'll be doing the short form. That's my report.
Ron, CON.
In the next few months, we've got to do some tidying up of stuff. I think we need to create a small section on our website for CON stuff.
There's nothing small when it comes to CONs. Sorry.
That was inappropriate.
I'm not going to get into deep review of some of the stuff because if they're redoing 0606, it could have an impact, and I can't see spending hours and hours on some things when if everything's going to change, or if there's going to be significant changes, and there's talk that there are significant changes in the works, then maybe we should wait and see what those changes are. But we do need to do some tidying up.
It's ironic that with these CONs, they're talking about now trying to get it broadened out again, where they were just here a couple of years ago trying to bring them down into a 2 square mile area that was being served, and you had to have a certain number to serve that area or you couldn't submit for reimbursement. And now they're blowing it out the other way to try and broaden the concept of it. In the meantime, between the Attorney General's office and the Department of Health, how many agencies have they forced to go through this transfer basis of becoming disassociated with the fire department to be able to bill or to become an independent and extend their guidelines, their area of coverage. These people can't get it so they know what they're talking about from one year to the next, let alone pay the bills.
I mean, I don't know that anybody was forced to become an independent. It became
because they could not buy it through the Attorney General's office.
It became a necessity for them to survive.
Well,
they were not forced at hand. They could have stayed volunteer.
The only way they could survive.
Right.
And
Just a
maintain,
clarification.
The money for doing the job, they wanted to do it. They were volunteering to do it, but they couldn't bill for it, so it just put them in a bad slot. So, between the Department of Health and the Attorney General's office, they were trying to answer a problem they had down in Long Island, where there's so much fraud going on that they were having trouble with keeping track of the billings. You get north of New York City, and it's so rural that you take up half a county with one CON number. So it's just they're so
out of touch with each other. They don't know what they're doing.
I would like to request that if there are any CON expenses to do with Lewis County Search and Rescue that have not been turned in, could we please get them turned in within the next week? I would like to see us do a timely response and return of funds. And then as soon as we get the bill from the court reporting, then we can pay that and get it back. We've got to do that in a more timely manner. So if I know, Ron, I signed one for you. I don't know.
I was just going to bring that up. And I also need a copy of the expenses, like the stenographer, both for tonight and the first time around at the public hearing, and the hearing officer. I need a copy of those bills, because next meeting we've got to talk about renewing the prices. We have to review our expenses every year.
So I would say that Dave Allen, after he pays them, should be able to give you a summary of the CON expenses, correct?
Do you want a report, or do you want a copy of the actual invoices?
I'd like a copy of the actual invoice.
Okay.
I sent an email back to Tim and said, when will we see the bill? And then the court reporting, they said they were going to put them both in one bill after tonight. So hopefully they'll get them right out to us so that we can.
I have no idea whether we got to raise it or what, I think that covers the CON stuff, unless somebody else has something. This has been a tough one, by the way, this last one. Very involved.
Thank you for all your work on it. I said thank you to the committee for all your work on it.
You're welcome.
Ken Gardner, Air Medical.
There was a meeting held in November. I was not able to attend due to company business. Contacted Ann, and Ann was out on her company business, so neither one of us was able to attend, so we will make the next one. I will fill you in.
Anybody else go by any chance? Didn't give an update? Okay. County reports. Charlie, Jefferson County.
I have a data report that I distributed at REMAC, and I'll pass them out here for anybody who didn't get them at REMAC. This is almost all the calls from 2015 made when first responders were dispatched. The last 2 pages, or it's actually 4 pages because it's front and back, are the EMS agencies. EMS agencies answered 23,000 were requested 14,500 times. That doesn't include Guilfoyle's responses in the city. So that would be in addition to this. Total for the county, first responders and ambulances are somewhere around 23,000. This report doesn't include all the call types. There are a couple things like EMS occasionally got dispatched to an electrical investigation. I didn't put that in here because I didn't see why EMS would be sent to that anyway. But that's the call type. If anybody has any questions, it's kind of interesting data. Sick person is kind of the catch-all, right, Bobby? But what's interesting to me is that falls are probably our most prevalent call type, 2,715 falls. One thing to recognize when you look at this is that depending on what the caller says to the dispatcher, a heart attack could be dispatched or could be sent as difficulty breathing, chest pain. There are about 4 different categories that a heart attack could fit into depending on what the caller says to the dispatcher. So some of that you got to take with a grain of salt. But I think some of these things may present an opportunity for us to reduce calls, fall reduction campaigns, things like that might really. What's that?
Close the Summit.
Close Summit Village, yes. Yeah. Unfortunately, they'll just be distributed elsewhere in the county. Close Summit Village. But that's some good data for your agencies and for the county as a whole. The other thing I wanted to talk about, Jim touched on it a little bit, is mobile integrated healthcare or community paramedicine. FDR HPO is actually working on a rural carve-out. They're trying to get at least Jefferson County and probably their whole catchment area, which is Jefferson, Lewis, and St. Lawrence, as well as some of the counties farther north, to do a demonstration project for community paramedicine. The other thing I wanted to mention, if you're not paying attention to DSRIP, that's the new payment scheme, accountable healthcare organizations, those things, you really need to start. I know Deb and Raleigh, you guys signed up with the DSRIP program. Several agencies here have signed up with it to do a demonstration project, and there's some money. There's some money out there for doing these deliverables through this DSRIP program. So really need to start paying attention to that. It's going to have a huge effect on EMS. The other thing about community paramedicine is that most of the opposition seems to be coming from New York City. Frankly, the rest of the state, the rural parts of the state, not so much, because we don't have enough public health nurses to go around. We don't have enough home health care nurses to go around. So it's a natural, why should Jefferson County Public Health send a nurse from Watertown when Raleigh's got 2 paramedics just waiting for the next call? That's one of the things that they're trying to work on, this rural carve-out. Yeah, Dave?
I actually got a copy of the letter that the New York State Nurses Union sent to legislation, and the primary issue was they claimed to the legislators that community paramedicine was going to be used by paramedics to give them the ability to work outside their scope of practice and do stuff they're not trained to do, and therefore allow them to work at a higher level that they're not qualified to work at. It scared legislators. The House or the Assembly had already voted it in. The Senate never brought it to the floor after they got the letter from the New York State Nurses Union.
And home health care. And home
health care was the other.
The 2 entities.
Well, those are the folks we need to.
But we met.
To get at.
The groups met with home health care and got them to understand. They backed down.
Yes, and I would tell you that my boss, the Jefferson County Director of Public Health, he's on the board of directors of the State Home Care Association, and she is trying to push them into accepting it, and I think it's starting to come around.
Well, home health care accepted the fact that they're Monday through Friday, 7 to 5 or 8 to 5, and they recognized it. The big push and that scared the legislators was nurses.
Yep. Well, that's what we need to address. That's all I got, Deb.
Anything for Charlie? Okay. Carol, can you give us a St. Lawrence County report?
Ann did a pretty good job already on some of the things, so I'm just going to highlight some of the others. We still are doing our leadership meetings, and it's really bringing together more of the outlying squads and into a meeting and where you can talk about things that are going on, things that are coming up. So that seems to be really productive. The other thing is the microwave tower has been out, and so I guess EMS has been having to use the high band until they can figure out what they're going to do about the tower. There is an upcoming meeting in Canton on April 15th, and that's going to be on isolation and quarantine issues, and that's put on by the Homeland Security. And it is on the computer. I picked it up off the website today. Let's see. And next month, we'll have election of officers. And we also reviewed our bylaws. We found that we had some issues, so that we've taken care of that. We've gotten on board more new members, which is really good. So our committee seems to be really growing now. So that's it.
Any questions for St. Lawrence County? Bob, how about this?
Well, the BLS class started in LSR on December 15th of 2015. I'm uncertain as to exactly how many students are in that class. It wasn't reported. And 22. It was 22? Okay, 22. It was just reported.
Oh, real time.
That's it, real time. That's how we roll. So it's an encouraging number. You know, I had heard that it was over 20, but that's as much as I knew, and I didn't want to throw out an exact number without knowing the ins and outs of it. Mutual aid agreements, we're going to be updating them as they've been needed for a long time. And we discussed earlier narcotics and the ALS agencies. I'm going to try to put a bigger push on for that, to try to get them all compliant. I don't know how successful I'm going to be, but we're going to give it the old college try. So we're going to be doing a BLS call-in policy, much like Jefferson County. It's going to be a known service dispatch. It's going to mirror our ALS agency's current policy. But we're still going to be dispatching the BLS agency that's of unknown status, as well as the closest available agency that's of known status. We're going to do a one-year review of this, of the scratch rates, and see where we're at, to see who the biggest offenders are. I'm pretty sure we know where that's going to end up, but we at least have to go through the motions. Our radio system went live. We've been using it since November. We've had mixed reviews on the quality and the clarity of the radio system, but most of the reviews have been positive. So we'll be tweaking and refining that throughout the springtime, and then we'll do our full coverage testing, and then we will actually take ownership of the system. So right now we're essentially using it for free from E.F. Johnson and finding out where the problems are. Other than that, status quo with the addition of the countywide CON for LSR. We don't expect any major significant changes. They've got a ambulette transport service that's going to benefit the entire county, and I believe that the countywide CON for them is going to be definitely a positive for our county.
Any questions for Bob on Lewis? Moving on to old business. MOU program agency provided to the draft. I signed that. It was signed by. Did you sign it or Denise? I don't remember who.
I signed it.
And that was submitted with the contract stuff to the state, so that they did have that. Spring Fling.
We're working on it.
Ann and I have been working on it. And folks that helped scan last year remember the problems we had with the scanning. And Ann went to, why don't you give an update? You went to...
So I went to Mountain Lakes Conference, and they had found a scanning system that they were using that, was much nicer. They were very pleased with it. But the interesting part about the system is it offers the ability to print name tags, to scan, and you can buy or rent the scanners, and the scanners are like this big. They're like a flash drive, maybe a little bit bigger. Downloads all the stuff, so you have some support there with it and putting things together. It also it does the certificates online, and it allows us to accept payments online with what was the percent charge?
2.3%.
Right, 2.2, which, anytime you do online payments, you're going to get a percentage charge for credit cards, which is something we've never had and have needed to move forward to. It will also allow us to do evaluations online, so they have to fill out their evaluation to be able to get their certificate, and then it tallies all that up and reports it. Whereas in the past, we've had to manually try to put reports together on the evaluations, and which are very time-consuming when you have 300, and report back to the speakers, to you folks, to the facility. So it's a great product. Debbie can throw the prices out.
So the company is called Event Management Solutions. It's called EMS Suite. So we had them give us two proposals. The first was for us to purchase the barcode scanners. We were looking at purchasing 6 of those, and there is a recurring fee for the badges, the certificates, and the evaluations. We had them do that for $350, and then there's a fee for the registration page development for people to go there to sign in and to register. So to purchase it, it's $2,994.20. If we wanted to rent the barcodes, it's $2,472. So for a difference of $500, we can own the barcode scanners. Ann, again, went to Mountain Lakes. They use this. She talked to Travis there. They're very happy with it. It does everything. I can tell you personally, for trying to do it for 2 years with everything else, the time to try to do the badges and their certificates and to correlate the evaluations is huge.
Do they have a 1-800 number we can call when we have issues?
I'm sure they do.
Yeah, I'm
Unlike
sure
the
that.
Aurora, or you email and it takes 6 hours to get a response.
Doesn't this also allow you the opportunity if somebody shows up and they didn't register, you can create them a badge
Yep.
right there?
Yes.
And so then the way the system is, they
Yeah.
just don't want, because no matter what you do, you always get the people to show up.
And it's actually like a per person charge, so I think it's
$4.95 per person.
so if you have less people, then it's less. The only thing that's not included in the quotes would be I can't remember, I got it written down in my notes. It was less than 3%, I think, whatever charge, So if you have, depending on how many people pay by credit card, we will only get it charged that for credit card payments, not for.
We have a lot of people that ask every year
Yes.
if we accept credit card payments. So it's going to make life easier for those folks that do want to pay that way.
Did they give you any idea of what the annual charge would be for this, and if there was an update, if they charge for updates for the product?
We would have the scanners, and then we pay per the number of attendees we have.
Basically, we pay according to, so once, if we buy this own program, next year, we just have to pay for what we do.
The
Correct.
$4.95 a person, and I believe that the registration page development would be less after the first year because we would have had the baseline started on that.
And I didn't ask about a maintenance contract for the scanners, so
That's kind of what I was referring to.
I don't know.
Software updates, the annual, is it?
We used to pay five.
Yeah. Being quite painful when the updates come around.
You pay $500 a year.
Yeah, we were paying $500 a year for nothing on the old ones.
And this is what it's intended to be. And last year, remember, we bought something that we thought we could buy and use because the other one we couldn't get up and running there when it came to it. They just need to be an anchor for some of these boats, those ones that we had, because they just did not work whatsoever.
And technology's advanced a long way. I mean,
Look how big those are and how much they weigh compared to.
I bought those a few years ago.
Debbie's requested to purchase those?
We kind of thought it made more sense. They're $126.95 each to purchase or $40 to rent them. So we thought after 3 years after 2.5 years, we would own them, so.
So for the 6, for purchasing everything, it would be $2,000.
It's $2,994. That's if.
Well, that's given. We have 350 providers.
We did it on 350. So if we have less, then it would be $495 a person, or if we have more than that. So I guess what we really want to purchase is 6 scanners at a cost of $126.95 each, and the badge, certificate, and evaluations at $4.95 per attendee, and then the cost for the registration page development of $500.
Just a quick question. David, how are we financially for this? Good? Okay, I'll make a motion we purchase.
I'll second.
So Ken Geiger made a motion, Jay Gannett seconded, to go ahead and purchase 6 of the barcode scanners, to contract with them for the badge, certificate, and evaluations, as well as the registration page development. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions?
One question, they could either scan in or out. When I talked to them, they said it would just be a minor extra to scan in and out of a class.
Does this cover in and out or just one scan?
Well, we talked about that, and we think that as long as they're scanning out, because, I mean, we have, once everybody gets piled in there, and usually they start, you can tell who's really coming in late, So the problem is leaving early, so if they're scanning out, it should be sufficient.
Okay. It is possible to do both, though.
Yes, we did talk about that.
Tax return, John Purcell from Purcell Accounting in Canton did just complete our tax return. Dave Allen has it. We did have to file for another extension because he did not have it done in time. That is set, we signed it, so that'll be going out in the mail, and I have to have a copy of it put up on the Grants Gateway so we can get our funds back, because that has expired on there as well. We had to, for those of you that don't remember, we had to get a new accountant because the ones we were using, a certain organization called Fort Drum Regional Health Planning Organization has pretty much enveloped their whole time, and that's all they're doing is their stuff now. So they weren't able to continue with ours. So John did get that completed, and I don't remember, what was the cost?
$1,500. $1,600.
So, and I think he indicated he would continue on doing that for us. So hopefully we won't have to file for an extension. We've got somebody and we're good to go there.
It'll be a lot simpler.
Other old business.
I forgot to mention that as of Friday, all Jefferson County ambulance services have accepted the mutual aid agreement that we started working on more than a year ago.
Any other old business?
I had one addition to the REMAC that I just thought of. There was discussion on putting together a demonstration or pilot project within the region for basic EMTs to use intranasal glucagon. And the REMAC endorsed putting together that program and submitting it to the state for consideration.
Other old business? Moving on to new. We already did the REMSCO appointments. We did those earlier. 2016 Vital Signs Award nominations. I was wondering if Charlie Brennan, Bob McKenzie, and Craig Ballard would be that committee again this year. And my goal is hopefully to get those out to the agencies at the beginning of February so that they're back by the end of March so that we can present them again at Spring Fling. These are for activities from 2015, so it's not like hopefully they should be able to get them. It's real important we try to get some nominations so that we have them at the state level.
Can I say something? Can I say something again for I don't know how many years. Okay, I sit on that committee. I read all of those. I see all of the nominations from all of the regions. And I'm telling you, the more you can write, the better. These nominations that come in with like 2 sentences on them or 3 sentences,
Don't cut it.
they don't cut it, yes.
And they should be focused on a specific event. The idea that the person in general has gone out of their way continually to help training people and like that is a nice idea, but many people think it's their job, Where if you can say, okay, at this site, at this scene, this person did this event, which made a life-saving happening for the patient, it just is worth so much more.
Events are nice. They really do look good when we read them. Because this is how I do it, because I get them all. So we do the top 5 or the top 3. So let's say I have 15 from one region. So I go through them, and I automatically have a yes pile and a no pile. You know what I mean? A yes pile and a no pile. The no piles I don't look at again. The yes pile, maybe I got 5 in there. So then I whittle it down to 3 and my top 3 people. Okay, that's on every region. If events are nice, but you can have ones where it's amazing what the people in New York State do, the EMS providers and stuff. Some of the things they've done within their agencies, it may not have been one event, but like an agency whose doors were going to be closed almost, and and they did this, and they got it going, and then they got all these people to help, and people that train and do these. But and I'm not saying this to when you write in there, like, they go to the ER and they're really nice to the EMS people. They're always there to help us. Okay, I would hope that's just the regular part of your job, right? That does not separate you from, unless we're saying there's only a few nice people and all the rest of them there are terrible in the state. Do you know what I mean? It's gotta... Do you see what I'm saying on that? Or they always say hi to me when I come in. Great.
I gotta agree with
But I want our region to get them, so write up stuff.
Because we've looked at these for the last few years, and he's a great guy and answers a lot of calls. Okay, so is everybody else in the system. But it's got to be specific. It's got to be something
that's substantial.
It's got to be noteworthy, I guess.
Hang your hat on, yeah.
What distinguishes this nominee from
everybody
else
else?
In the state?
Yes.
I think that's what we're looking for in these nominations, and we end up going, I don't know. I guess we got to give this one. It's the least bad of the bunch. Yeah. And I would like to submit something that's really good.
Yes.
Rather than the least bad one. And unfortunately, that's been the case for the last few years.
It's great to have people, want to recommend people for these types of things, because they got their heart in the right place.
Yes.
But it's hard to get it out there to be able to focus on individual mechanisms of how things are done, or events, or whatever that you can put up there to really look at and compare.
Yeah. So many times we read this, and we actually may even recognize the name of the person that they're talking about, and they're like, yep, he's an outstanding provider, he's an outstanding person, an outstanding citizen, but this is vanilla. We'd have to send it in if we got nothing else, but we know it's not going to go anywhere.
But honestly, you can send them in, but if they aren't at that level, then you don't have to say, okay, we're choosing this person. We got to start doing them, the right way. And I think a lot of it happens is sometimes some wait to the very end. The last minute, oh no, we didn't do anything, we got to get a couple in, the deadline's in 3 days, so let's type up 2 or 3 sentences, and they send it off. Everybody has people in their agencies. Everybody knows somebody that has just done outstanding things that should be recognized at a state level. And we had people from our region, but I don't know, did you guys hear? I wasn't at the last meeting, but Debbie got the Commissioner's Award, the Commissioner of Health's Award at the last Vital Signs Conference. Now, the thing on the Commissioner's Award is that is separate from all the other awards. Mm-hmm. Like, I sit on the peer committee. I review every person that's getting award. We do not know who the Commissioner awards. The peer committee has nothing to do with that. Mm-hmm. That comes from who? The Commissioner of Health of New York State. So that is somebody at DOH or something will put in for that person. It does not go through the peer committee. We do not even know. That's the highest recognition of awards at the State EMS Council.
That's an example of the problem we have both in fire and EMS, and like to blow our own horn.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
We're a humble group.
Yeah.
We need to, yeah. But Debbie did get that award, so that's a big congratulations. And so I am looking forward this year to reviewing applications for awards and just totally being like, wow, these are wonderful. So please help me.
Question.
Yes.
As a council, a lot of these people probably don't have the expertise in writing. Is there any way we could offer to assist them in writing these recommendations?
When I was previously the program agency, that offer was always out there.
Yes.
Debbie
But
does a
it-
fine
it's
job
like
of
getting-
trying to,
Yes, yes. I
Please
always say,
help.
let me see them, because I can look at it and tell you exactly, like, well, you need to write more of this, and maybe a little less of this, and, yes.
But it maybe we're sitting, not just
Absolutely.
looking and saying, but actually sitting down with the person that submitted
Yeah,
it
yes.
and wordsmithing, doing it from there, so.
So it'd be really nice if we had nominations to submit to the state in every category.
Yes.
So we'll get the posters out and the forms out. So either you take the time and nominate some folks. Pardon me?
what are the deadlines on this?
I would like to have them in by the end of March so that the committee can meet, and it gives me time to order the plaques, because we invited those folks to the banquet last year at Spring Fling. We gave them the plaques there, we read it, and then they're not due to the state until June 1st, but that way we have them for ours. So we invite them there, and then they go on to the state.
Okay, so you're going to be asking the counties to put these forth to Debbie, or whoever here, by the end
Or
of
whoever.
March.
Yeah,
Or
they'll probably we'll ask that they go into the program agency to be collected, and then Ann can scan them to send them to the committee to review. And then if we do this, by doing this early like this, you could accept them for the regional award, and it still would give us time to enhance them, to submit them for the state, because I believe that unless they've changed the date, the deadline is June 1st, so
Right.
that's probably still going to be.
June 1st.
But it would still give us time to
Yes.
enhance them.
Somewhere in amongst that, the local, at least St. Lawrence County, I know in the past, we've been getting them submitted to the county first for their recommendation, and then it would be chosen at that point, but it usually comes down to being the EMS coordinator, the coordinates that happening at the county level, and then comes here.
It should be, it still can if we put it out this meeting,
Yeah.
and then we'll meet again in March. We can still do it.
Oh, I can add one more thing to that, too. If it's not written on there, it's not happening. I mean, because I sit there and I know some of these people, and when I see these ones that there isn't much written, I so bad want to say, hey, but I know that this person has done this, and this, and this, and they'll cut me right off at the knees. And they say, like, we can't say anything in addition to what is on that paper. So we cannot put any of our own opinion in it.
It's like PCR, it's not there and didn't.
It's so, you know what I mean? And sometimes it really, because I so bad want to be able to say something, and we can't. So if you didn't put it on there, it's not like I can interject at all. I can't say anything, nothing.
Kind of funny, you got people who are 5 feet PCR and struck toe.
So our goal needs to be able to submit to New York State somebody from all the, so 20-some people sitting here. If we can all go back and get one or two of them, that would be wonderful.
I got one. It's mine, Charlie.
Fort Drum trauma training. In the past, REMSCO has co-sponsored and assisted Jefferson County with having a trauma day out at Fort Drum. And I wanted to bring up about covering the cost of the meal again to see if we can do this. Being that we don't meet again until April, Charlie really needs to start working. There's new leadership out there, so it needs to start working on being able to do that. Last year we did pizza and wings, and it was just under $800, and there was 50-some people.
Yeah, between 50 and 60.
I make a motion that we support that trauma day program at Fort Drum again, not to exceed the $1,000.
Seconded.
So we have a motion to cover the cost of the meal not to exceed $1,000. And a second. Mark Tuttle made the motion. Dave Sherman seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions?
Before we move on, Deb, what is the consensus on when to try to have this? Spring, fall? I don't want to conflict with spring fling. In the fall, I don't want to conflict with vital signs. And hunting season, of course.
Yeah, that's on.
So I guess some suggestions on when would be best for us. Bear in mind that it's going to depend on when they can do it as well, because their training mission, if they folks deploy and then they don't have time for us. So we have to find a gap in their training schedule, and I guess that's my question. Is it better in the spring or the fall? We've done it both ways. Any thoughts? Does it matter? Fall.
Well, our neighboring region moved their conference to a month after ours, so Mountain Lakes moved to May. May is crazy because you got EMS week, the EMS memorial, now this other conference is going in.
Graduations.
College graduations.
Summer is never a good time because
August.
there's just too many vacations and too many things interfering. So I'm thinking maybe September, October.
Yeah, and
Earlier-
Vital Signs
earlier
is
part of that would probably be the best.
Vital Signs is late October
August,
usually.
September, if they can fit us in. If nobody's had an opportunity to go, being able to go through their sim lab there and everything, it's just,
Spectacular.
it's amazing, and they do a really nice job for us, and we do this free of charge, and it's a nice day, so. Next thing on here, New York State reporting template. Mark Tuttle will get a kick out of this. This is the new reporting template that we have. It's now 46 pages. And each page has something for each quarter that you have to do, and it's meant to be more consistent so that everybody's reporting the same way so they can capture the data better.
Say 46 pages?
Yes, yes, and that's before the attachments.
You should go back to them and ask them if they forgot to enclose the check.
That's the REMSCO one. Mine's much longer. Mine is separate and much longer.
It's going to be interesting, and that's due by the 1st, and I haven't started it yet. So if anybody's looking for me this week, I probably will be sitting there pulling my hair out trying to answer these foolish questions. So.
And I'll be on the other side doing that, so don't call me.
Pulling your hair out?
I'll be pulling her hair out, she's pulling mine out while we're trying to figure out to do these templates. I do want to say something, and as a council, we need to make sure that our committees are being active. One of the things, and it's the writing's on the wall, and there's been a lot of discussion as far as for the $25,000 that they utilize to fund the REMSCOs, and what that money goes for, and if we're not able to show that we have committees that are functioning and that are actually moving forward and doing things within the system, this, in my mind, is why the REMSCOs now have a standardized reporting tool.
I was just going to say, it's
accountability.
short-term processing. Is this the way where they can further evaluate the necessity of councils, or they? There's a reason that I kind of backed off, because I could foresee a lot of this, and it's a lot of work. I applaud Debbie for her commissioner's award. I don't know how I missed that. That wasn't.
I wasn't here to tell.
That wasn't well advertised, or I just completely missed it. But it's a lot of work. Having sat in both of those positions, it's a lot of work. And I guess I'm suspicious of
are they looking to validate where those funds are specifically going? And if you can't justify exactly what those funds are going for, then
As you see what the template
You're probably
says and what it wants.
Accountability.
It's exactly what you're doing.
Even at the state council, we have committees, we have to do activity reports, and they scrutinize them quite a bit just to justify that we need a state council.
it is what it is.
Yeah.
Next thing is meeting minutes, transcripts. Ann has worked with Misty, and Misty is willing to do the transcripts from these meetings. We may have been negligent in the last year by not having the transcripts done. That was very low on my priority list, and the state was aware of that. But obviously, as we're getting back to having a program agency staffed and hopefully getting close to normal again.
Recalculating the route. That's what we're doing. We're recalculating the route right now.
Sitting still, that's got to be interesting.
It was brought to our attention that we should be doing the transcripts. And Misty, we will do an MOU with her, and she's going to charge
The same price that if we had to like they gave me a quote from the girl in Central New York that does theirs, where we had to send everything to her, which was $2 a video minute. And believe me, when you're transcribing, it is a pain. We have not been able to locate the software that goes along with the foot pedal that I'd previously bought when Misty was doing these in the office, but I think Kurt has found the program. He sent it to me a while ago. It got under the table, and the foot pedal's still in the back seat of my car, so she was unable to do the last one. She did attempt, but it would take 10 minutes to do 2 minutes. So we're trying to get her the appropriate equipment to be able to do this. When we first initially started webcasting, I can't remember their name, but it was some company that I contracted with, and they automatic sync technologies or something, and they were terrible, absolutely terrible. When they came back, there were so many misspellings and so many, unrecognized names and words, and so.
So what we talked about at the executive level is we will have in the MOU that within 2 weeks it must be completed and forwarded to the secretary for review and to ensure accuracy, and that we will have it completed. Like then, when we complete it 2 and 3 months later, we can't effectively remember, but that we're going to want a turnaround of a couple weeks, and that will be in the MOU with her to do that. So that will be taken care of. You also might have noticed a familiar face sitting over here videotaping for us tonight. Joe Goss wasn't feeling well. Joe did our last meeting and wasn't able, and Ann pleaded and begged with Todd to come in and help us, so Todd graciously came tonight to give us a hand in video, and so we want to thank you very much.
Thank you, Todd.
Good to have you back, buddy. You missed us.
And the other thing under new business I didn't have on there was it's nominating committee time again. So I was wondering if Carol, Dottie, and Raleigh would serve as the nominating committee. And so what we ask is that you contact the people within your county to see if anybody is interested in holding a office, and that you would be able to report for our next meeting in which we need to vote on officers. One of the things in the REMSCO is a review of the bylaws. So the executive committee, we're going to work on updating the bylaws. And since we only meet 4 times a year, I was wondering if we wanted to make officers like a 2-year term. It seems like we just voted and it's time to turn around. So we may have some some bylaw proposal changes that we send to you to look at, so you feel.
Makes sense.
I think it's a good idea.
So out of
Takes
the
you a
three-
year to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, out of the three of you, which one would like to be the chair?
Wow.
It's Dottie.
She didn't say no.
She didn't say no, so that's a yes.
She's never. I thought you said I.
Any other new business from the floor?
Ouch.
Budget.
Executive committee needs approval to spend the money for this year's budget done. We're not gonna meet again until next year's budget's done.
So we have a,
Make that
meeting.
motion that the executive committee reviews the budget and spends it down appropriately.
Who seconded? So Craig Ballard made a motion, seconded by Larry Gerard, to allow the executive committee to spend down our budgeted funds before the year end. Any questions?
Keep in mind,
Reaching out to some of the coordinators, if we've got some funds, we'll see where we're at, type deal, and maybe.
Vote on that?
All those, any further questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Any other new business?
so just to review on that, we've got till the end of March to spend this money. So any of the training information, any of the training supplies, that kind of stuff, can you get it to Ann, somebody, whoever wants to be the clearinghouse on this? And,
I'll be the clearinghouse.
okay, let's send it to Debbie, and then we'll get together and figure out what went and where. Quite a bit of this money will also go towards spring fling. We use some of the deposit money this year, so please don't just let it sit there. We need to use it. I'll get a report on it next week.
Our next meeting is scheduled for April 4th. Any other business for the good of the region? If not, I'd entertain a motion to close.
Take your pick.
Thank you very much.